What's going on, everybody? It is Allen from Breaking and Entering, and we are here with another week of Breaking and Entering's quarantine update. There's not much quarantine left, but that's all right. We're totally fine with that. As always, I am joined by the host of Mr. Nice Guy, as well as Breaking and Entering writer Ben Slowey. Finger Guns Ben Slowey. How you doing today, man?
I'm great, Allen. Thanks for having me again. I am, as usual, digging up a lot of Milwaukee music that we didn't know about.
Yeah, exactly. It's been there's been a lot of music on the website just so far this week. I schedule usually on the weekends for every hour for something new to be posted, like from the site, and we have almost the whole weekend filled up, and it's only Tuesday, so that is absolutely insane. That's the amount of music that we're discovering and covering on Breaking and Entering. Ben, how was your day, your week been? How's things going?
Yeah, it's been good. I've been, pretty standard so far. I mean, it was rainy and I stayed inside most of the weekend, but I got some groceries today, so I'm stocked back up.
Solid.
On hams.
There you go. Very important.
Very. I've had a really solid week. I mean, despite it just being gloomy outside, I'm doing great. How are you doing, Alan?
Today has been crazy hectic, but in like a good way. I finally feel like things are really, really moving well for Breaking and Entering. Like we're in like a rhythm now, where we're doing this every week. We're putting out the podcast every week. We're doing radio on the weekends. So like we're really, really moving at a good clip. The radio show has been picked up by a few different stations around the country, a few different online stations.
Oh,
so
cool.
Now you're going to hear Breaking and Entering radio everywhere. Recorded a podcast interview today. Posted a bunch of music today. So,
dude, that's a big deal. That's awesome.
Yeah, we're gaining some momentum here, and it's going really well. But definitely had some points today where I was just like, oh my god, like stress level on, but in a good way. Always in a good way.
Yeah. I get that too, where like when I'm digging into, like, I'll dig in my Facebook friends list or like event pages and stuff for new artists that, are in the city that like we didn't know about. Yeah. And I keep thinking I found the last one, but they just keep coming, man.
Oh, there's never a last one. I learned that a while ago, that especially in local hip hop, that just when you think you've found everybody that has written everything or put out every track, some kid comes out of nowhere, made something new out of his basement, and it's dope, and you're like, I gotta cover it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
absolutely.
With that said, we're gonna get into a video that is not new by any means. It's like a decade old, but since I've had a stressful day, this is going to be like just a throwback for me. Honestly, just for me. It's Dana Coppafeel, Speakeasy, and Prof with one of these kids. This video was shot by Xavier Ruffin, who lives out in California now. Speakeasy lives in Georgia now. Prof, last I heard, was living in Nashville. And Dana Coppafeel is still Milwaukee. So everybody has gone their separate ways, but I remember when this video dropped, it was like a really, really big deal and got some play on MTV2. Was all over the place. So with that said, let's get into it. One of these kids. It's a throwback to start things off on Quarantine Update.
My business stays stacking, so let that phone ring. We travel the country, get a percentage of the whole thing. Unify, we bonafide, you gayer than a toe ring. My name sang out through the scene, I do my... Let's get it poppin', I'm just asking what it do, man. That verbal intercourse. Hey ladies, glad that you came. I'm Mishka down to the socks, plus a dope shoe game. That finishing move, Luke Kane. That audio crack, blue flames. Yeah, that's day and night. You getting left, I'm going right. Sitting on my throne, looking down from this peak on life. A crown on my dome, and you know I'm a grown king. Music like my old thing, but I fucked her like a new fling. While you rapping like 2 Chainz, only rap CEO.
UMG do our own thing, not another nigga. We ain't beefing with the others, we ain't copying the nigga. Put my feet in my own shoes, time a day. You wake up and be somebody else, you lying a day. In the concrete jungle, I'm a line a day. With my own shirt, my girl sport designer a day. Lost my mind last album, trying to find it a day. But I'm having no luck, do the chronic a day, yeah. One of these chicks yelling, baby, I'm open. Put my wetsuit on and I swam in the ocean. Hard liquor in the night, having morning mimosas. Yeah, Prophetic box, so your girl got a rock. Got a sweatshirt with the nigga Earl on the front. Got the Warriors logo with the skull on the front. Me and Dana, goddamn it, been doing that.
One of these kids is in orbit, fly shit, space shuttle speakers on blast, up in my shit. No immune system, no vaccine to match this. With a good woman, cause we're good as a bad bitch. Shout out to Lupe, now I dare you to wake up. I'm knee deep in the bakery, yes, I'm getting my cake up. One of these kids get biz like a CEO. MJ the pit, back to Mike like give and go. Some of these kids are not worth they hype, not fly like they missed their flight. I'm being contrite, so I'm sunning these kids while I'm doing my own thing. Shirt and tie flow while I'm doing my grown thing. These asinine rappers are not really belonging. Should really take notes when they see me performing. Now I'm my network, so you won't hear my phone ring. And I'ma kick back while the dude on the song sing. Yeah.
All right, that was one of these kids. That's a throwback. Shout out to Dana Coppa. Shout out to Prophetic and Speakeasy, Xavier Ruffin. I forgot about the Reconstructor, the producer that put that together. That was a mainstay of the Milltown Beatdown beat battle. So just lots of Milwaukee hip hop history that went on in that, and that's just a small sample of what was going on around that time about a decade ago. So. I got to see a very early version of Moda 3 that was in there, which is crazy. Prof does his verse from inside in the store. Doesn't look anything like that anymore, so that's really cool. Yeah. So yeah, that was a little trip back in time just for me, just to see that video.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, all those guys are dispersed now.
Right.
But, yeah, we still got Dana.
I think Dana is one of the most Milwaukee MCs. And he used to live right down the block from me, actually. And since I moved then, and now I'm discovering all sorts of people that are in the neighborhood. Marty from Gorilla Ghost lives down the street from me. I just learned that Sabra from Sabra and Carlisle lives right down the block. I saw her rollerblading the other day. So, that's Milwaukee. You can throw a stone, you can land on somebody that's in a band or a rapper or something. So
yeah, it gets there's a lot of those pockets.
Yeah, definitely.
A lot of artists live in Bayview. Obviously, a lot of them live in River West here.
I was gonna say where you're at, there's got to be just bands on top of artists. I'm sure you could go past any basement and hear somebody doing something musically.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah, I used to live 2 doors down from Sister Strings.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. And I would always see them on the porch when I would leave.
Just chilling.
They ended up moving, but it was always so good to see them. And then one of the guys in the old Prospectors, he used to live on my block too.
Yeah.
It's just I would see what's his name? Gabriel Hammer. He's in jazz music.
Yeah.
He would I'd see him walking his dog occasionally because he lived really close to me. Now in my new place, I don't even know who I live near yet. Yeah,
it's a new, totally new adventure for you. But
yeah, but I'm sure there's plenty on the block.
Yeah. Oh, definitely, easily. So let's get into the big question that we ask every week that we always catch up on. I gotta know, what have you been listening to this week? Where have you? What's the new music in Ben Slowey's world?
Oh wow. This is actually kind of coming around full circle from when we started doing this. When I was listening to all this weird and experimental stuff. Now, I'm actually the last couple of days I've had 2000s punk music on rotation.
There we go. That's my wheelhouse.
That's your stuff. So
yeah.
I've been listening to the Gaslight Anthem.
Okay.
Against Me.
Yep.
The Menzingers.
Nice.
Yeah, just like a lot of like 2000s like punk stuff.
Yeah, Against Me was actually the first band that I saw at the rave. I think I was still in high school at the time. I saw them open for Alkaline Trio. And the crowd literally pushed you so far, like, that you couldn't even, your feet weren't on the ground. I was just floating from one little pocket to the other across the stage. Or, around the area, the main rave, you know?
Yeah. So I've been kind of digging into that stuff, because it's stuff that, like, I didn't really listen to at the time. Like, I used to play some Gaslight Anthem songs, like, when I had a radio show in high school.
Okay.
But I never, like, really, like, listened to the full records. But, yeah, like, the Axl Rose record by Against Me is so good.
Oh, yeah, totally. Yeah, I mean, a lot of that stuff is... and you know what? There's so much of it that came out in that little window that even I'm finding bands that I'm like, why did I not listen to these guys back in the day? Because I probably would have been like a huge fan of them, you know?
Totally.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So that's cool.
What about you? What have you been listening to?
So here's a weird quirk with me. Whenever it's like really rainy and shitty, I don't know why. For whatever reason, I'm just inclined to put on like reggae music. So I have been listening to like a lot of like reggae stuff lately, like especially like older reggae. Like the new stuff is kind of more dance hall-y, and I don't know, like it just feels cool to put on like an old reggae record from like the 60s, 50s, 60s, something like that. And I don't have a ton of that, believe it or not, in the vinyl collection. I don't have a ton of it, but Spotify is great for that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And so I've been listening to some of that kind of stuff. I found before quarantine, I found the Highberries playlist on Spotify, or somebody that works at the Highberries like main playlist that's like hours and hours long, and they always have great music in that bar. So the Bundesliga came back, soccer came back this week, so I started playing the Highberry playlist, which has a lot of like reggae stuff and like kind of like worldy kind of stuff. So we're switching roles here. We're getting, I'm getting into the more experimentally kind of weirder, trying to discover stuff, and you're getting into the more pop punk stuff now.
Yeah. Tables have turned on us, man.
Yeah, this is what happens. We do this show long enough, we're just gonna both be listening to like the most crazy ambient stuff or whatever.
Well,
who knows?
That actually, I mean, at the same time though, the Milwaukee music I've been listening to has been in that noisy experimental. So like, I covered like 3 records like in one day that were all Peter J. Woods projects.
Just projects that he was involved with.
Yeah, and he's like a big noise guy. He runs the FTAM label, and because he dropped like 3 records. He dropped a record from like each of his projects all on May 1st. Okay. So that stuff, in terms of Milwaukee music, I've been covering a lot of the weird stuff, but in terms of like my own time, I've been in the pop punk stuff.
Yeah, in terms of Milwaukee stuff too, brand new Yum Yum Cult that is on the website today.
It's good.
Yeah, brand new Yum Yum Cult, brand new songs, Spades and Slow Life Tito, and video from Looney Baby and Low End Zelly is out today. So so that's true on the Milwaukee end too. There's been a lot of like really good hip hop that's been coming out. Really part of that whole like underground hip hop scene that just lives on YouTube. So that's been very cool.
Yeah, Mario Lanza's new song is really good.
Yes, I saw that yesterday. Heard that yesterday.
Yeah. It's kind of like a sort of like that alternative R&B vibe that's like really popular right now. But in the familiar Mario vocal range, and he did a really the production's really good.
Yeah, and he actually, speaking of, came out of that whole like kind of punky scene in the early, mid 2000s kind of thing too. So does tie in with what else you're listening to that's not Milwaukee stuff, believe it or not.
Totally.
Yeah.
The new Laurel Sulfate video and
yes,
song came
Selfie.
out. That was really good.
Yeah.
Really cute, really positive. Great. It's a great celebration of self-love. And then just so much stuff of all different creeds.
Yeah, totally. Well, let's get into another video that is going to be more closer to what you've been listening to, and it's complete opposite of what I've been listening to. It's a little bit heavier. This is The Serpent's Root by Knaaves on Quarantine Update. Alright, that was Knaaves with The Serpent's Root on Breaking and Entering's Quarantine Update. And we were talking just a little bit off camera about just the amount of different musicians in Milwaukee's music scene, and especially the hip-hop and the EDM scene that are just creating tons and tons of new music.
Yeah. That's been occupying a lot of my time. Has been like, yeah, as I mentioned before, just finding as many different artists as I can find that are dropping cool stuff. And I have been, because we haven't covered, we haven't typically covered a ton of EDM music, but especially like in the last year or two, a lot of artists have popped up in the scene that are doing all kinds of experimental takes on dubstep and drum and bass and even some chiller stuff. So yeah, it's just like, it goes back to like, I think I'm finding, even right when I think I've found like every corner of the scene, I find a new artist or two that that I overlooked.
Yeah, no, totally. I think that it kind of, I've always thought that it like moves in pockets, like especially, and I didn't, where I realized it is there used to be a open mic at Club Anything in Walker's Point, and actually West Tank was the dude that was bartending for it. And I'm trying to think of the guy's name and who put it on, and like, no matter what, every week it was like a Wednesday night. It was called Bounce Back. I believe his name was Josh that put it on, and like he would just pop up, just set up his tables. He'd have a mic ready, and I saw everybody from like Tayamo Denku come into there to I believe. Well, I know that Taj Raiden came in at one point and like just screamed into the mic and blew everybody away, and that was like right before she kind of got popular. And I'm trying to think who else I've seen there. Maybe Zed Kenzo, but like there was.
That's funny. Club Anything. The first time I was there was to see a buddy's show. He's in a punk band, but this was way before I like was covering for the scene or doing Mr. Nice Guy. I was just going for fun, but yeah, it is like, that's a spot that like I forget about sometimes, Club Anything.
Oh, totally. And it's right in the middle of Walker's Point, and so like it's not, at the time it wasn't even like, Walker's Point wasn't known for anything really. It wasn't as big as it was. Now they have Walker's Point Music Hall. They got Sabaticas putting on shows, or was putting on shows.
Cooperage.
Yeah, Cooperage. So that neighborhood too has really, really become a focal point for music, and connects, obviously the Third Ward to downtown. So it feels like local music happens everywhere but downtown sometimes. Yeah. And so it's slowly pushing into downtown Milwaukee, which is cool because it's happening literally on both just north and just south of downtown.
Right. Like, and we can't count on the occasional Milwaukee showcase or fest or headlining show at Turner Hall.
Yeah.
To call that, we have like good downtown like placement for local artists. I mean, but as you pointed out, like I feel like we are slowly kind of starting to close in on it.
Yeah.
Which that's encouraging.
Yeah, and there's Pabst Tap Room, Captain Pabst Pilot House, of course. Which now that place opening up is probably the only place for local music downtown, too. Yeah. So which is where
even that is a little like more secluded.
Yeah, they're up in the hills. I'm up in the like the faraway hills of Milwaukee. I'm just west of the Fiserv Forum. I almost said Bradley Center. It's still adjusting, I guess.
It's such an omnipresence we have. That there's so much stuff like, and honestly, this has been a great silver lining for our own quarantine, is that we have been able to find and platform so many artists from EDM to metal and hardcore. Yeah, even more hip hop stuff, more rock bands, more soul and jazz singers. Like, I think that we're coming out of this so much more well-rounded, and
totally. Just as listeners and fans of music, because I mean we're both fans first, to take this time and really like discover something new that we haven't listened to, or people that might not have necessarily, not that they didn't get the shot, it's just they just weren't able to make their presence felt in the like vast number of Milwaukee artists that are putting music out,
Yeah, and it feels good to do that. It feels good to like kind of extend our arm out to the artist, whereas a lot of artists think that they need to like bother a bunch of publications in order to get coverage. But
right.
I like to think that it shouldn't be that excruciatingly frustrating for an artist just to have their song heard.
Oh, totally.
And if we can make it just a little bit easier for them and like reinforce that we do notice them, then I'm happy to do that.
Or that anybody here notices them. You know what I mean? Like it's cool to, it's very cool to say like, some of the artists that are big in the city might have gotten some of their first coverage from us, which is very, very awesome.
Yeah, dude. And I'm excited, like, when one day, when shows become a thing again, I know that I'm going to come out of it with, like, a much more expanded palette of, like, the kinds of shows I cover. Because before quarantine, I was covering a lot of indie, experimental stuff, like that was kind of the stuff I just generally gravitated towards. But I know that when shows become a thing again, even if they might look a little different than they did before, I know that I'm going to be going to a lot of different types of shows. Which I'm excited for that too, because like, just, I feel like this is like such a hibernation period where it's like we're enjoying the energy of these artists' ideas and creativity just within the confines of our home.
Oh,
but
totally.
When we can finally see that at Site 1A or Cactus Club or
I weirdly have a desire to get to Site 1A, which is, I'm not normally a club person, and I've been there a few times, and I weirdly have a desire. Like the other day, it just hit me where I was like, I miss the club. Like that's, what I mean, which is weird to say because I was never really that guy, but I miss the club. I miss going to the Cooperage. I miss Cactus Club, being able to be so close to just literally drive like 5 minutes and somebody new is playing that I've never heard of. Like I do miss the live event space and cannot wait to get back to it. And like you said, there's a lot of young acts that are really we're getting to discover right now. Speaking of Cactus Club and those young acts, the next video we're going to get into, our last one for today, is Marty and Lake's Copy Me.
Oh, yeah.
And Marty and Lake were two dudes that I legitimately saw them in the crowd at Cactus Club shows for like a few weeks when Cactus was doing hip-hop basically every week. And I had no idea that they were rappers. You know what I mean? Like, they just, I don't know, just never really gave off, never that that feel of like, I'm an artist, like, come talk to me, like, kind of thing, Yeah. And Marty's super humble, and Lake, same, really. I mean, like, they're very young and really just getting their feet wet within the hip-hop scene, but I cannot wait to see what they grow into as an artist, too,
Totally. Hell yeah, man. Marty was actually the podcast episode where I accidentally locked myself out of my house, and he boosted me into my bedroom window to get back into my house, and it was hysterical. But
there's a bonding experience you'll never like get with another guest.
Right? Yeah. It was He was so patient through the whole thing. God bless Marty.
Yeah. God bless Marty. So with that, let's play some Marty and Lake. This is Copy Me. Shout out to the cronies on Breaking and Entering.
Cronies only, my circle private homie. Yeah.
copy my shit. They wanna copy, they sloppy as shit. I heard the way that you talking, it sounded familiar. Will you just stop it right quick? Hold away, copy me, copy me, copy beat. No, you copy me, copy me, copy me, copy beat. No, you copy me. Copy my shit. They wanna copy, they sloppy as shit. I heard the way that you talking, it sounded familiar. Wait, will you stop it right quick? Hold away. Copy me, copy me, copy me. No, you copy me. Copy me, copy me, copy me. No, you copy me.
Marty and Lake, we hit then we quit it. Rocking you well, so you know we both fit it. Fucking it up, we leaving no witness. If I'm okay, I will never admit it. Y'all didn't know that Marty spits bars. Killing shit daily, Fortnite with the scars. Smoking that wax, you can catch me on Mars. Yo, searching your wish list, mine's in the card. Hey, what you gon' do? Chilling with homies, chilling with my crew. Catch me with cronies, we gon' rendezvous. When I'm all on the track, it's called Red Mountain Dew. Yeah, hey, copy my shit. Copy my flow like they copy my fit. The cronies my squad, they'll admit. Shout out to Optic, he reppin' Misfits. My blunt in rotation is being transmitted. I'm going so crazy, my flow is committed. I beat the case, they call that acquitted. I walk in the spot, yeah, I'm permitted. Got love for my homies, so don't get it twisted. Go off on the top, they call me quick-witted. When the track starts playing, you know I'ma spit it. This beat is going hard, I think I just shit it. Marty.
Copy my shit. They wanna copy, they sloppy as shit. I heard the way that you talking, it sounded familiar. Will you just stop it right quick? Hold away. Copy me, copy me, copy beat. No, you copy me. Copy me, copy me, copy beat. No, you copy me. Copy my shit. They wanna copy, they sloppy as shit. I heard the way that you talking, it sounded familiar. Wait, will you stop it right quick? Hold away. Copy me, copy me, copy me. No, you copy me. Copy me, copy me, copy me. No, you copy me.
All right, that was Marty and Lake with Copy Me on Breaking Entering's quarantine update. We're about to get heading out, but as always, Ben, let's get a final thought from you. Very Jerry Springer-esque final thought on how to get through this next week of quarantine.
Yeah, well, I know, as we said at the beginning, that the weather has been rather crummy the last couple of days, but it is going to warm up this week and get very nice out. So I encourage everybody to go on some walks. Maybe,
there you go.
In social distance style, maybe throw the frisbee around with a friend or do something to get out. You know, I think we could all use that.
Where else do you get the idea, the music, we get the advice, and we get the weather.
Yeah, well, I'm a big weather follower.
Okay.
Fun fact, I actually, when I was a kid, I used to watch the Weather Channel for fun. So. Oh, wow. Okay. If that gives you an idea. I've always been very weather inclined.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's gonna get nice. The same stuff as always, really. Just keep tapping into the new stuff, and you know, I think I don't know who needs to hear this, but you know, share your homies' link or their business or their product. You know, support if they're your friends, support them in their endeavors and their creative goals,
1,000%,
in their dreams. Please, even if it's a simple like on their page, go do that, and also take a time to maybe write a positive review on their Facebook page, which I did recently for some people, and you know,
it goes a long way.
Little gestures like that can, seriously affirm them, and also they're your friends. You know?
Yeah, so, no, totally. I definitely would co-sign that 1,000%. You know, I think anybody that's creative has a little bit of feeling of this is crazy. You know what I mean? Whether it be you with the podcast or me with running Breaking and Entering or whatever, or any artist. At some point you have to look at yourself and go, this is crazy what I'm doing, and you need that kind of validation from somebody. I know that, today has been a great day for me business-wise, but I've definitely had days where I've been like, man, I should just up and quit. Because I have no idea, you know what I mean? I'm putting this website out, and we're breaking our backs to get, new music out there, and like, is anybody watching? Is anybody paying attention to all the stuff we're doing? But then the little thing happens, and you're like, yes, let's go. You know what I mean? Like, that little bit of validation definitely does go a long way for anybody making anything creative, especially artists.
Totally. I felt the same way with my podcast when I had to halt it. There was a couple weeks where I was just feeling. It was when a lot of things in the world were still pretty bleak at the time,
right?
With like the pandemic, and when I had stopped doing episodes, I was feeling like, like looking back at all this, like how much is this really worth all the energy I invest in, and how much, time I make for other people, and like I've been working towards this, like how much is it really like
take out of you? Yeah.
How much is it really like forwarding me and stuff? I get like that too, but then I checked Anchor recently, and my podcast with Justin Perkins is now at 34 plays, which I think is.
There you go.
It's like that's probably the most views I've gotten or listens I've gotten.
Yeah. If
not somewhere like up there, like definitely
totally.
Like one of the most listened to episodes I've had. And that was the last one I did before quarantine. So that right there validated me. Like, wow, that's a lot of listens for.
Oh yeah, and anytime your name gets brought up, Mr. Nice Guy gets brought up as well. I do have to say that. So people are paying attention, and obviously paying attention to everything that you're doing. I appreciate it. Everybody, for sure is in on Mr. Nice Guy. They know what's all up.
Likewise, every time I bring up Allen around people, like they always, they think of breaking and entering, and they're like, "How does he do so much? Like he does so much." And I'm like, "Well, he's found a way to make it work."
Yeah, definitely. So
that's the key to both of our successes here, is finding a way to make it work.
Definitely. And if you want to be real nice guys, you can always do us a favor and check out daily music at breakingandentering.net. You can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, all of that. Make sure you subscribe to Ben's podcast. B&E has a podcast as well. This week's guest, and I kind of revealed it on the radio show, but I'll say it again here. This week's guest is Slug from Atmosphere. So that's a very, very cool interview. I won't give away too much, but he says puppy dick about 3 times right in the beginning of the episode.
Oh.
So
okay.
Once he learned that he could swear on the podcast, that's what he went to immediately. I don't know. That's dropping this Thursday. Breaking and Entering Radio, obviously on the weekends. Ben, thank you so much for coming in and doing another quarantine update. We're going to rename this shortly, and you and I know the name, but we'll reveal it one of these days. We'll make a big dramatic thing out of it.
Sweet, yes.
Maybe next week we'll make a big thing out of it.
Yeah, let's do it.
So tune in next week to see what we're going to call Quarantine Update from now on. And thank you, as always, for watching Breaking and Entering's Quarantine Update.
Thanks, Allen. See you later.